what I'm picking up first is the energy of someone, your person, the one who comes to mind as you watch this, who operated for a long time from a place of ego. And I want to be careful how I say that, because I don't think it was malicious. I don't think they woke up every morning and decided to undervalue you. It's more like, they got comfortable in a story they were telling themselves. A story where they were the one who could walk away. Where they were the one who held the power in the dynamic. And that story, that quiet confidence in their own position, it protected them from having to be vulnerable. From having to fully open up. From having to say the things they felt. Does this feel familiar? The sense that this person always kept a little bit of distance, even when things were good? Like there was always something being held back, something just out of reach? You probably felt it. People who are intuitive, and I think you are, if you're drawn to readings like this, they feel these things in the body before the mind can explain them. That low-level uncertainty. That question you couldn't fully voice, are they really here with me? And now, something has happened. Something has cracked that story open. The energy I'm sensing around your person right now is disorientation. Genuine shock, not the dramatic kind, the quiet kind. The kind that settles in the chest and won't leave. Because what happened, whatever it was, whether it was you finally stepping back, you choosing yourself, the relationship ending, distance forming, it didn't go the way they expected. In their mind, they had a version of events. A script. And you went off script. And now they are standing there holding pages that no longer make sense. This is interesting, because what I'm seeing is that their ego, that part of them that kept them from being fully present with you, it's not protecting them anymore. It's actually the thing that's hurting them. Because the ego told them you would always be there. The ego told them they had time. The ego told them they didn't need to try harder, didn't need to say more, didn't need to be more emotionally available. And now that ego is being confronted with the reality of your absence, and there is no comfortable story to fall back on. There's more to this than it first appeared. I want to talk about something that's coming through strongly, and it's the energy of an apology that was never spoken. I'm not saying your person is going to come to you with a full apology, I want to be honest with you. But what I am seeing is that there is something inside them that has been building, this unspoken recognition of where they went wrong. Things they said. Things they didn't say. Moments where you reached for them and they pulled back. Moments where you needed more and they gave less. Those moments are replaying for them right now. And the weight of all that unsaid truth is sitting on their chest. This feels like someone who is lying awake. Not dramatically, not like a scene from a film, just that ordinary, terrible stillness of 3 a.m. when your thoughts won't stop. And in those thoughts, they keep coming back to you. To specific things you said. To the way you looked at certain moments. To the version of you they didn't fully appreciate when they had the chance. Have you noticed that you gave more than you received in this connection? That you showed up, even when it was hard. That you were consistent, even when they were unpredictable. Because that is what's becoming visible to them right now. Not because you're performing it. Because your absence has created a mirror, and for the first time, they're being forced to look into it. That's the energy of this mirror, and it's one of the most powerful things coming through in this reading. Because when you were present, your person could avoid looking at themselves too closely. You were there, and your presence somehow softened the edges of their own emotional unavailability. They could tell themselves things were fine, because you were fine. Because you managed. Because you absorbed. But now? Without you there to absorb? They are left with themselves. With their patterns. With the way they handle closeness, which is to keep it just slightly out of reach. And that's uncomfortable. That's the kind of discomfort that forces growth, even in people who resist it. And your person? Part of me senses they've been resisting this for a long time. I'm hearing something like, I didn't realize what I had until I couldn't reach for it anymore. And I want you to hear that not as something to act on immediately, but as a confirmation of something you probably already suspected. That you were seen. That you mattered. That the love you gave landed, even if it wasn't always received openly. Now let me talk about something delicate, because I want to be honest with you and I want to honor both sides of this. The love your person has for you, and I do believe there is love there, it's real, but it's also been limited by their understanding. And this is the part that stings a little, if we're being truthful, they loved you the way they were capable of loving at the time. And their capacity was not equal to what you needed. It wasn't equal to what you brought. And that gap, that difference between what you offered and what they could receive, is the source of so much of the pain in this connection. Because you weren't asking for the impossible. You were asking for presence. For honesty. For someone who would stay open even when it felt scary. And they kept closing. And you kept wondering if you were asking too much. You're not imagining this energy, you are not asking too much. This feels like someone who gave more than they received, and who questioned themselves for it. Who maybe turned the lens inward and asked, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this enough? And I want to sit with you in that for a second and say, it was never about you not being enough. It was about them not yet knowing how to receive what you were offering. The energy shifts here. Because what's happening now is that your person is beginning to understand something they couldn't understand before. The rarity of what you brought to them. This is not about you being perfect, none of us are. But there is something about the way you love, the way you show up, the depth of your care and your emotional honesty, that is not common. And your person is realizing that right now. They are looking around at their life without you in it, and they are noticing the absence of something specific. Not just you in general, but the particular quality of being known by you. The particular comfort of someone who paid attention. Who remembered things. Who cared in ways that were consistent and quiet and real. And they are struggling to find that elsewhere. Or maybe they're not even looking, maybe they're just sitting with the loss of it. Maybe they reached for someone else, or for a distraction, and found it hollow in comparison. The energy keeps repeating a message around this. There is no replacement for what was real. And your person is learning that now, in a way that is slow and uncomfortable and not something they can just think their way out of. This is good news for you, even if it doesn't fully feel like it yet. Because awareness is where everything begins. For some of you watching this, I want to acknowledge, you may not want them back. And that is completely valid. This reading isn't telling you to wait. It isn't telling you to open the door. What it is telling you is that the investment you made was not invisible. The love you gave was not wasted. The person you were in that connection was real and rare and worth something, regardless of what comes next. The validation you've been looking for, the acknowledgement that you weren't crazy, that you weren't too much, that you weren't imagining the connection, the energy is saying, you were right. You did feel something real. And they are only now catching up to what that meant. There's something here that feels like the power of distance. And I want to sit with this because it's subtle, but it's important. When you pull back, whether by choice or by circumstance or by necessity, something activated in your person that closeness couldn't have awakened. Because when you were close, they could take you for granted without even realizing they were doing it. Your presence was woven into their days so naturally that they forgot to notice it. Forgot to be grateful for it. Forgot to tend to it. Distance has a way of making things visible. It has a way of turning the ordinary into the sacred, once it's no longer available. And right now, your person is sitting in the clarity of that distance, and they are aching. There is a longing in their energy that feels almost physical. Like reaching for something in the dark and finding empty space where something warm used to be. Have you ever lost something small, a song, a smell, a habit you didn't know you loved, and only discovered how much it meant to you in its absence? That's the level of realization happening for your person right now. Except the thing they lost isn't small. And they know it. This is interesting, because there's a question buried underneath all of this, and the question is, what will they do with this realization? And I want to be honest with you. I cannot tell you with certainty. What I can tell you is that the energy suggests they are at a crossroads in themselves. Not just with you, within themselves. Because what they are facing is not just the loss of you, but the invitation to become someone different. Someone who doesn't let the ego run the show. Someone who can hold softness and strength at the same time. Someone who doesn't wait until it's too late to say the things that matter. Whether they rise to that, that is their work to do. Not yours. And I want to say that clearly, because I know some of you have been holding space for this person for a long time. Hoping they would get there. Believing in their potential to show up differently. And that kind of hoping is exhausting when it's been going on for months or years. At some point, the question shifts from when will they change to what do I do with my own life while they figure it out? For those of you in this collective who are in a quieter kind of waiting, not desperate waiting, but that gentle, open wondering, I want to speak to you specifically. The energy here is not asking you to close the door. But it's also not asking you to stand in the doorway forever. What it is asking you to do is to come back to yourself. To the things you've been putting on hold, quietly, because so much of your energy has been tied up in this dynamic. Because here's what's true, the version of you that this person is realizing they miss, that version of you has been here the whole time. You didn't change. You didn't shrink. You held on to yourself even when the connection made that difficult. And that is the version of you who deserves to be chosen, fully, consciously, with gratitude and awareness. If this person does come back, and the energy suggests there is movement, there is something shifting in them, they need to come back as someone who has done the internal work. Not someone who is just uncomfortable without you. Discomfort is not growth. Missing someone is not the same as being ready to love them properly. You deserve the second option. Keep that as your compass. I keep coming back to this image of your person standing somewhere alone, not literally, but energetically, in this moment of quiet reckoning. And I want you to know that what's happening inside them is not nothing. It's not performance. The shock they're feeling is real. The recognition of your worth is real. Something has landed in them that can't be unlanded. Whether that becomes something meaningful, something that translates into changed behavior and honest conversation and real effort, only time and their choices will tell. But the seed of understanding is there. And sometimes that's the beginning of something that becomes extraordinary, and sometimes it's just the ending that needed to happen so that both of you could find something better. Either way, you are not losing. Let me bring this home gently, because I want to leave you with something that feels grounded and real rather than just hopeful in an abstract way. What the energy is saying to you today is this: trust what you felt. Trust the love you gave. Trust the instincts that told you something was off, even when you couldn't name it. And trust the part of you that kept choosing yourself, even when it was painful. Because all of that, every bit of it, was you operating from a place of deep integrity. And that doesn't go unrecognized. Not by the universe, not by the people who matter, and not even by the person who is sitting somewhere right now, reckoning with what it meant to know you. Your worth was never in question. It was their vision that was limited. And now the fog is clearing for them, slowly, honestly, in the way that real growth actually happens. Not in a grand gesture, not in a dramatic realization, but in the quiet moments when they reach for you in their mind and feel the weight of what they didn't hold carefully enough when they had the chance. You are allowed to feel everything you're feeling. The grief of it, the relief, the complicated mixture of missing someone and knowing you outgrew what they were offering. All of it is true at once. You don't have to choose one feeling and perform it. You can hold all of it, gently, and keep moving forward.